All right, so recently I've been working on moving some wood and bucking up a bunch of big pieces of wood and things. So I wanted a Picaroon, and I did order the Fiskars one, but it won't be here for a few days. So I had this old Intertool axe, and I thought that I would give it a go trying to make one myself. They don't seem that complicated, and I had seen a number of people online kind of make them. I was a little hesitant to start. I didn't know how much the exact measurements or shape would affect the process or the function of the tool. So I was willing to give this a go with this axe. It's a cheap intertool axe off Amazon. I think I paid $25 for it, and I have not liked it at all. I really don't like the handle, but it's composite. So this at least gives me an idea of the shape of the head so I can make another one in the future if I want, because with the big wood that I'm moving around and stuff, it's recommended that you use two of them and it'll make things a lot easier. So you don't have to bend over. You can move logs around to split them, to cut them, to buck them, all that kind of stuff. So I started off with a bandsaw, which usually does pretty good on hardened steel. I've cut a number of like engine crankshaft. Um, what's that called? Where the key goes in to mate it to like a centrifugal pulley or whatever, or a centrifugal clutch or whatever. But it didn't work very well. So this time I went ahead and got the angle grinder out and a cutoff wheel, and I'm just cutting this up. Trying not to get it to where it binds the blade. Now I know you should be using a angle grinder guard. I hardly ever use them. I don't even think I own them anymore. So if you're safety conscious, use the angle grinder guard. Don't do what I'm doing here. But anyway, so I just kind of roughed it out with a piece of metalworker's chalk soapstone, and I just fought a little bit to get it in a good angle where I could get my angle grinder in there everywhere and the clamp would not be in the way. If you have a bench vise, which I have, it's just not set up right now, and that would probably make it considerably easier. But yeah, in a big clamp, you're going to need a big clamp that you can really crank down on. I was kind of afraid of it compressing that composite handle and making it separate from the head or splitting it, but it didn't. So that's good. And just keep, I forgot that I moved the camera around so much, but um, keep just cutting it until you get that out. And then you want the, a picaroon is pretty much like what I have here. A hookaroon has a little beak on it. It has like a little indention, which I'll make here in a minute. I'm using I think right. Oh no, I'm still using the cutoff wheel at the moment, and I'm cutting that little beak. It's a little hook in the end. It tends when you um, strike wood with it, and then you hold the handle. It tends to hook in and keep the wood from falling off as easily. So that's why they're called hookaroons versus picaroons. Picaroons are typically for wood you want to come off very easily, like small pieces of firewood or whatever. So they are slightly different. A hookaroon also has a little beak so that you can hook stuff. Um, and yeah, so this is the process of just um, grinding it and softening it. Now, the bottom, I didn't actually take the square edges off. I left them on there. Um, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It does set harder, and it seems to really dig a bit more. So I think it's probably a good thing for the hardwoods that I deal with. But for a softer wood, if you're doing lots of like pines and spruces that are green, you might not want to do that, or even silver poplars or something like that. Poplar wood, anything that's kind of softer, you might not want to do that because it could potentially get to where it digs too hard, and then you have a hard time getting the wood off, so you might want to soften those edges and make it more round toward the beak so that it doesn't dig in as hard because those square edges on the bottom tend to make it dig. Um, I'm just, you know, finishing it up and I'm tapering the tip a little bit because I cut the tip off a little bit of which would have been the axe edge. And it's got to be a sharp point, right? So this is yeah, it's done. So let's give this thing a go. This is my first time out with it after I just got it off the bench and works pretty well actually. Small pieces of wood that are super thin, it will split them in half down the grain, just know that. But I mean, I'm picking up everything from apple to willow here, silver poplar. That's willow, weeping willow. That's a piece of silver poplar, but it's frozen to the ground and it's huge. I didn't think I'd be able to move that. This is all elm, Siberian elm, and a couple of pieces of ash, velvet ash or green ash, and that's a pretty dense wood. It's pretty heavy. Here's some more with ash and silver poplar. Even these little pieces, it does really well. So I'll say that you can strike the softer woods like the silver poplar a little harder and it not split them in half. It works pretty well. Thinner pieces of like ash tend to split in half, but you can use this thing. You don't have to like swing it into things. You can just, it's sharp enough. You can just grab it with the tip and flip it up and roll it around. So you don't always have to dig it in, but you can use it to carry woods too. Which is really nice. And the long handle makes it where you don't have to bend over much. So there's a piece of ash behind me here. Took a few swings. I had gotten to where I wasn't digging as hard, but you have to swing harder for the hardwoods, of course.